the Across the Pod NFL podcast. We are here for our final week of the regular season as week 18 dawns upon us. I'm your host, Andy, and I'm this week joined by a very special guest, one of the NFL UK OGs, you could say, a well-known person in the NFL UK community. I'm here with Liz Bhandari, or as she's well known on Twitter, NFLGirlUK. How are you, Liz?
I'm really good. Thanks for having me on. It's great to chat to you.
Yeah, no problem at all. It's good to have you on because you're such a well-known person in the community. It's really good to have you here, really, and have you talking all things American football.
Yeah, no, always happy to talk ball.
And one thing we often see from your profile is that you're a Seahawks fan, but I've never really found out from any podcasts you've been on why this is the case. So we like to ask all our new guests
Yeah.
why they support a certain team. So what made you Seahawks?
Yeah, it probably sounds really, really stupid, but when I first kind of met my now husband, I was at his watching, well, basically at his, he was watching American football. And I was like, okay, I'm from like a rugby league town, and I was like, okay, I can see some similarities in this game. And yeah, honestly, I just kind of got hooked to American football from that point. Seahawks, from what I remember, were the team that were playing. I can't really remember who they were playing against, but I love the color navy, which is why I think I chose them straight away. And then it was also because like Richard Sherman, Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson, just like seeing these personalities is what then got me into the team as well. So yeah, I purely chose them off the color of a jersey. I'm that girl.
Yeah, we've had some fascinating answers. Some people choose it based, like myself, on a family holiday. Some have family in a certain place. A lot of people in the UK is down to the first game they saw. So it's interesting that that's what you went, as well as the colour. I think that's one thing I will say. People who choose, if you choose a team just based on a certain player, that player will eventually leave, whether it's retirement or
Yeah,
whether it's being
yeah,
traded or free agency. So I think there's always good to have a reason that isn't just the player. And for you, it sounds like it was the colour of
yeah.
the uniform.
Yeah, it was. And I always think, God, imagine like had there have been another team on TV that day, like it's quite a few teams that wear navy. It could have really been someone else, but no, we're all good.
It's interesting you say that because I could have easily gone on a family holiday, to New York, could have been Seattle, could have been Pittsburgh or Denver or
Yeah,
something. And I think, it's just funny how these things work out because I can't picture myself supporting anyone but Miami. But, it could have easily gone the other way. I could have easily picked New York. And I think, after my trip I've just been on, I think New York
yeah.
may well have taken that crown if I'd only started getting into the sport now. Um, and I want to ask you as well about your sort of, are you Red Zone? Are you Sky Sports? I know you've worked for Sky Sports. You're probably tied to a certain
Yeah.
answer here, but how do you normally watch your NFL on Sunday?
So I would definitely say that our TV in this household is controlled very much by Red Zone.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I love Red Zone. I love Scott Hansen. I think he's an awesome guy. I could probably just listen to him talk all day. He just has this kind of charisma and personality that just makes you want to keep listening. Like I love Sky Sports. I love everyone who's on it,
Mm.
but it's the energy and the excitement of Red Zone that keeps us kind of hooked on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely if you're like myself and you're a fan of the league as much as your team, I think watching all the games going on at the
Yeah.
same time, I think just makes it more enjoyable. And in terms of favorite players, I saw you
Yeah.
stumbled at the name Russell Wilson, so I'm guessing it's not him. Um, who would you say is your
No,
favorite player?
oh, favorite place. So this is funny. My favorite. I have a few favorites. This is the issue. I have a lot of players I've got a lot of love for, and if I was going to pick someone off Seahawks right now, probably DK Metcalf. I've liked him for a long. Well, I've liked him since he's been with us now. But he's. I wouldn't say he's my favorite NFL player overall. If I think back, it was always Marshawn Lynch.
Mm.
Obviously, I was devastated when he retired, moved on. However, Russell Wilson, I've always liked as a person. I'm sure he's lovely, but I'm still heartbroken he's sacked us off and decided to go somewhere else. But it's fine because he's doing really well. They're doing really badly, so I can get over that from that perspective. Yeah, I've got a lot of players I like, and this is because of programs like Hard Knocks,
Mhm.
All or Nothing. Like JJ Watt has been a major favorite of mine for a good while, mostly because I'll just go with him obviously as a player, but his personality, I discovered that in Hard Knocks when that was on years ago now. And I love Matt Stafford. He was like the first when I chose Seahawks. Another team I liked at the time was also Lions, but Navy Blue was what got me. I loved Matt Stafford. I loved Calvin Johnson, and they were the first team that I saw play live as well. So, as in live in London. So I've always had a lot of love for him. Obviously, he moved to the Rams. Another player I really like is Baker Mayfield. I like him purely for his fun attitude, his like dancing and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a hard one to always like pick, I suppose, a favorite player, but I'd probably say your favorite player with JJ Watt, I think, overall.
Yeah, I think he's a player that I think you can't. It's very hard for you to dislike JJ Watt. I think it's the same thing. I would think like
Yeah.
Gronkowski or people like that. I think the personalities they have, I think it's very hard to dislike, and I think
Yeah,
it's that day when
definitely,
he
yeah.
retires.
I know, honestly, I saw it pop up on Instagram at the time, and someone, I can't remember who it was who like said, but they basically had a video of JJ Watt looking back at the stadium as he was walking away with like a bit of a tear in his eye, and I was like, oh no, it's happening. And yeah, it is happening. So it's a shame, but I get it. Like priorities change. Obviously, his health's changed with his heart and whatnot. And he obviously just wants to spend more time with his wife and kids. So fair play. But yeah, it's a shame. I kind of think he's one of those players that does like deserved to have won like a Super Bowl or like something like that. He just sadly hasn't kind of been, I guess, at the right place at the right time for that. So I feel bad for him in that respect, but he's a great player overall.
Yeah, I wish him happy retirement, JJ Watt, and I think he will go down as one of the best players, certainly defensive players, never to win a ring. And I think that
Yeah,
the only shame about his career, three-time defensive player of the year, whatever he was, and yeah, he
yeah.
really a legend in the game. Before we do go on to our predictions, last week, of course, we had Zach from Bailey Sports on. Obviously, there was one elephant in the room that there was one game that didn't finish. But even with that, we still finished with Zach on 10 correct predictions and myself with 9, which does mean that as it stands, with just 1 week left of the regular season and our final week doing this in terms of the leaderboard, it's still myself from week 15, Charlie from week 15, and Paul Hope from week 4 that lead the way with 12 correct scores. Are you confident, Liz? You can beat that?
Nice. We're about to find out, aren't we? Who knows? I'm so funny. I'm literally the kind of girl that, and it sounds so stupid, but I will pick who I want to win, not like who should like win off stats and all that kind of stuff. I pick like the team I like.
Yeah, I do the same, and I'm forever a believer in jinxing things. I would try and go against a team I want to win. So
Yeah.
and obviously we will say as well, just before we carry on, obviously we did record our last podcast before the incident between the Bills and Bengals game with Damar Hamlin. So the whole podcast, everyone who's been on, we can all say we're wishing you a speedy recovery, and hopefully you can be there for some sort of capacity for the playoff run that the Bills have. Although I hope you don't win, because I don't want the Bills winning the whole thing. I hope you can get as far as you can without actually winning it.
It's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny how we get to the tribalistic, because I wouldn't say I hate the Bills. I view them as more of like an annoying brother. I think the Jets and Patriots, different story there. But I think the Bills, with everything they've done, since they gave money towards a charity, all the support we've seen, I think that I don't hate them. I just view them as that annoying little brother. Like, you don't want to do well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's like, I like you, but no, you can't do good things.
Yeah, certainly. Right, heading on to our Saturday slate. 2 games. The first one is
Yeah.
fairly, it's sort of somewhat important because of the number 1 overall seed, but the Raiders are already out as the Chiefs travel to Las Vegas. I'm going to give the Chiefs the win. I think that it's very hard to go against a Chiefs side this time of year with that number 1 seed on the line. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs. How about yourself?
Yeah, same. Gonna go on Chiefs on this one. We all know Raiders are basically playing for the pride in this game, whereas Chiefs, they win, they take the top seed for the conference. So there's a lot more in it for them. And yeah, I just think, yeah, it's gonna be them. It's too much of a thing for the Raiders to win this. Like,
Yeah. Well, it's actually that game's actually on my birthday, so the next game is even more important for me. 1 a.m. I'm hopefully it'll be all right when it gets to 1 hour. I'll probably be tired, but Jacksonville Jaguars host the Tennessee Titans in basically winner takes all. The winner makes the playoffs via the division title in the AFC South. I'm going to let you go first on this one, Liz. I'm going to give you the power first to tell me who you think is going to win this big.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the Jaguars in this one. Like we know it's such a big game for the AFC South. As it stands, the Jaguars they've played well on the road to the playoffs, whereas Titans they've lost their last 5 games in a row now. They're pretty beaten up too. So I think unless Derrick Henry can have a game and like run for 250, I don't see the Titans taking a win. So yeah, I just feel like this is Jaguars' time. They've been building up for quite a while now. Now's as good as time as any for them to just go for it, and yeah, kind of hope they do.
Yeah, I've not really got any horse. I mean, I'm a big fan of Derrick Henry, so I'm sort of hoping the Titans win, but I think the Jags will win. I think
Yeah,
the momentum's there. I think that Trevor Lawrence is actually, I think he's questionable for this game, so that could be a big difference. But if he's fully fit and healthy,
yeah,
I think the Jags are going to win this. Now heading
yeah.
on to our Sunday slate, so of course 6 p.m. on Sky Sports or Red Zone, whoever you like to watch it. If you're listening or watching this, we're going to go through some sort of fairly unimportant games I don't mean as much. Buccaneers, Falcons. Of course, Buccaneers sealed that division win, and I'm going to give them the win. I think they've got some sort of momentum, even though they had to come back from all those points against Carolina. So I'm going to give the Buccaneers the win, although I wouldn't be shocked if the Falcons do beat them.
Yeah, so I'm going with the Falcons on this one. I've got a feeling that the Bucks are going to sit some of their players. I think they're basically going to call them the Tampa Bay backups. So yeah, I think Falcons will just kind of get the win on this one.
It's actually a good point you make, and this point makes this week the hardest one to predict because it is you don't know who's going to play, you don't know what's going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, I maybe I'll change that, but I think even they may still do the job anyway because the Falcons are the Falcons. So um
They are, yeah, you're right.
another unimportant game, the Houston Texans traveling to the Colts. I'm going to give this one to Houston. I think that even though they got the number one seed on the line, I just think that they're playing a bit more, and the Colts just seem completely. Um, they seem done to me. They've seemed done for weeks. They've just Nick Foles was terrible in their last 2 games, and I don't think that's going to improve anytime soon. So I'm going to give on this one the Texans to win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go opposite again. So I'm gonna go Colts on this one. Yeah, their offense is horrible, but I think they can play it well enough just to to win. But literally like just well enough. Yeah, kind of best, kind of like yeah, they're both pretty bad. But yeah, I think the Colts will just scrape by on this one.
Yeah, I think we differ there, but that makes it so good. Panthers Saints, another game which means absolutely nothing. Going to give it to the Panthers. I knew they lost to the Buccaneers, but
Oh
they were.
really?
I don't know why. I think the Panthers have been pretty bad this year. I think most every team in that division has been bad, but I think the Panthers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think the Saints have been. They've been pretty bad as well, and I just don't. I think neither team really can call themselves proud of their season, but I just think that
Yeah.
maybe they showed me more in the last few weeks. I don't know. This is one where I really did find it hard because I don't think either team really will win this game if that was possible.
Yeah, I had this down in my head as like Saints to win
Mm.
and actually to win it pretty easily as well. So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how that one goes.
Mhm. Yeah, and a game I'm sure no one will be watching.
Yeah.
Be like, this is with die-hard Saints fans, with die-hard Panthers fans, and that'll literally be it. Right, again, that does mean something. Buffalo Bills host the New England Patriots. This is one that has got a lot riding on it. Of course, the Bills are going for the number one overall seed, and if the Patriots win, they get to playoffs no matter what happens in the other games.
Yeah.
Me, I'll let you go first again, Liz. How are you seeing this one?
Yeah. So I'm seeing Bills. Like we say, we know this is such a huge game for them both. And it'll be a tough one. Yeah. So I'm going with Bills in this one. I think it's going to be a tough one because I think the players, like there'll be no shock if they're still in their own heads in this game, given what's happened this week even. I just think they have more to play for in it. And I think with what's happened, that they'll want to win it more. So yeah, I've got a feeling that Bills will go for this. And yeah, end Patriots playoff chances. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that I could have been edged towards the Patriots maybe before what happened in the Bills game, but I think they're going to be a team,
Yeah.
absolutely, a bit like the Bengals as well, particularly the Bills. They're going to be really determined to get the win, mainly for DeMar Hamlin. And I
Yeah.
think that the Patriots
Yeah.
offense have been bad. And I think that the Dolphins game maybe papered over the cracks because our pass defense has been so bad. I do think that they were lucky that they played against a team with so many injuries in the secondary and in that defense in general. So I think they may well go back down to earth with a loss here. But I
Yeah.
really hope the Bills win this game. I can't if we don't make the after making it 8 into start, if we don't make the playoffs, I think that'll be an almighty collapse. And I just hope we can do the business. But I am worried. And actually, let's go to that game now. Actually, New York Jets
Yeah.
traveling to Miami. I'm worried, and I do actually. I've got the Jets winning this game. I am worried massively. I think that Skylar Thompson will be playing. It seems like he
Yeah.
had a good last drive where he scored a touchdown towards the end, but before that he was pretty bad. And I just think that Jets defense, as bad as the offense has been, and I think Mike White isn't the answer. I do think that that defense will win them the game essentially. And I can see him. I can see it being a game where there's no offensive touchdowns, it's all defensive touchdowns. I can see it where maybe it's a run game or maybe it's defensive players, but I just don't
Yeah.
think that into the passing game. I don't think either team, even with Hill and Waddle, I just don't think either team is going to do that well. I don't think in this game, and I'm going to give it sadly to the Jets.
See, I chose your team in this one.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, I always, and that wasn't, and that's before I realized you're a Dolphins fan, so it's not just because of that. But yeah, I get your point about Skylar Thompson. He's definitely up against a really good defense. But even still, I think Dolphins they'll do enough on the offense to kind of win. But I think you're right. They need some motivation there to do it. So let's just hope that they find it. Because yeah, I don't want Jets to win either.
No, no, no one does. Not even Jets
No
fans.
one wants the Jets to win.
Yeah, for me, I think that someone who's seen us play one game in the playoffs in my time being a fan, my 10 years, whatever it's been being a fan, I've only seen us play one game in the playoffs. We lost quite heavily. So for me, just to make
Yeah.
it, I think will be still a successful
Okay.
season. But hoping we can cause some sort of shock in the
Yeah.
playoffs. If Tua's back, which I don't think he will be,
Fingers crossed.
yeah, maybe. We can
Yeah,
hope.
it's tough, isn't it? Yeah, it's really tough. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we'll be playing most likely the Chiefs or the Bills when it comes to the playoffs. And I think we've done well against the Bills, but I think against the Chiefs, I think we could struggle. But you never know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
never know.
Let's just get there first.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing I need to address because yeah, I've been saying the last few weeks. We win this game and we're pretty much in the playoffs. We win this game, we're in the playoffs. We win this game, we're in the playoffs, and we've lost every single time. I
Oh
went back,
no.
it's been 5 in a row now. I'm thinking, oh, this game. I remember I went to the Chargers game in LA. I was thinking, oh, we'll win this game and making the playoffs. And Packers game on Christmas Day, I'm thinking, right, we win this, we're in the playoffs, and it just hasn't worked out yet. I'm hoping this week it can change and we can actually make the playoffs.
That's why you chose Jets to win this one then.
Yeah, exactly. That is the only reason why. Trying to be as less confident as possible to then not build my hopes up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, Bears hosting the Vikings. Again, I think this game is fairly meaningless. I mean, the Bears still have the chance of the number one overall seed. I think that the Vikings have got no chance of
Yeah.
making the number one seed. So I think the Vikings could well rest players. But I think,
Yeah.
actually, I had the Vikings before, but actually now I've said this to myself. I'm gonna give it to the Bears. Just 'cause I think they've got slightly more to play for. But then again, are they going to tank and want to get number one overall seed? Oh, my mind's stuck here.
Who knows?
You know,
Yeah.
I'll give it to the Vikings. What the hell?
Yeah, I've gone Vikings as well. Yeah, they're not playing the greatest right now, but they do still have like 12 victories, and yeah, like you say, they can get second seed. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it to the Vikings. What the hell? Yeah, I've gone Vikings as well. Yeah, they're not playing the greatest right now, but they do still have like 12 victories, and yeah, like you say, they can get second seed. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it to the Vikings. Yeah, and do you know what? The Bears have looked really awful as well. Like obviously they lost to the Lions, not looking good for them right now. But in this game, yeah, I do think they'll play better.
Mhm.
Um, but I still think, yeah, Vikings will scrape by and get the win.
Yeah, I think that I think whilst the record is, I think, slightly fraudulent, I don't think they're quite a 12-win team. I do think at the same time,
Yeah,
they are a team for me that has got pressure on offense and stellar players. Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins on his
yeah,
day, showing that he can
yeah,
be a good
exactly.
quarterback. So I think their team certainly to watch
Yeah,
out for as a dark horse when it comes to the NFC. Next up is the Cleveland Browns traveling to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Steelers
yeah,
for me, I think they could do it. If I've got the Jets to win this game, I've got the
yeah,
Patriots to lose, and that means if the Steelers win, they're in. And I think they can do it. I think the Steelers are going to make the playoffs, which would be something we never thought 2 months ago, 1 month ago. But you got to credit Mike Tomlin and his team for getting 500, and then potentially with still a chance of making the playoffs. And I think that the Browns, even with Deshaun Watson back, haven't looked great, which I love. I love saying 'cause I don't want him winning any games
same.
after what
So
happened.
awful.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah, yeah,
I think most
yeah.
people are
I,
anti-Browns.
Yeah, I am also anti-Browns, but in this particular game, I have just got this feeling that they'll just win it. Yes, they've got road games, but they've got this kind of, I suppose, I don't think tradition's quite the right word, but they're really good at like beating their rivals at the end of the season. So there is a chance that they do. And yeah, it's going to be an ugly game as we'd expect it would be. But I think that they will end Steelers' playoffs chances. I don't want them to, as in I'd rather the Browns just lose every single time. But no, I think they could actually scrape the win on this one and kibosh the whole thing for the Steelers.
We will see. We will see. Bengals against Ravens in Cincinnati. I mean, this is a 11-4 team, and the Bengals against a 10-6 Ravens team. I think the Bengals win this. I think the Ravens have looked really
Yeah,
bad without Lamar Jackson. I really do think they haven't
yeah,
been at all good. And they were a team
yeah,
I had as a dark horse to win it all before the season began. And I don't think without Lamar Jackson they can do much. And I think the Bengals, I don't know whether at this point they'll be whether they can still fight for the. I think it all depends what they do with this game. If the game's given as a tie or the game's just written off, I
yeah,
don't. They haven't got a chance of winning the conference. But I think if they've still got a chance as it stands to win the or be number one seed in the AFC. So I think with that reason alone, I think
yeah,
they'll want to get the win. And they've also had basically a week and a half extra rest. So yeah, going to give this one to the Bengals.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go with you and Bengals. I just, yeah, I just think out of the two they'll do it. Like you say, because we've not got Lamar Jackson, who I had in fantasy, so that was devastating when that happened because he'd been doing all right for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in this particular game, yeah, I think the Bengals come out, they light it up, in the Ravens defense. So yeah, I think Bengals will win this one.
Yeah, just want to thank Mark Andrews for basically losing me a league one week. He got 6 points, I think, one week. I think it was 2 weeks ago, and I was in the semi-final. I think, yeah, and there was just someone who I declined the trade for. I think someone offered me Kelsey for Andrews and a first overall pick in a dynasty league. I declined it because I thought of the long-term factor,
Yeah.
and yeah, that proved to be a bad decision short term anyway. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. But I did. I got to the final of I'm in the podcast. So I work social media for the Nat Coombs show, so I'm in Nat Coombs' fantasy league, and I did beat Asmir Begovic this week to win the whole thing. So that was good. That was good. Um,
Nice.
but for me, the biggest lock of the week for me, Eagles against Giants. Eagles for me, I think because the Giants, I can see them resting players. I can see
Yeah.
them with their. I think they're locked in at six. I think six is already guaranteed. If not, that's the likely destination. The Eagles still have that. They need to win the game to get first seed wrapped
Yeah.
up. And we've, I think we'll mention Niners later on, but I think they'll win their game. So I think they've got a lot to play for more. I don't know whether Minshew will be playing or whether Hurts is back, but either way, I can see Minshew and the Eagles beating this Giants team, who will probably won't even play their starters.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Eagles will win this as well. I've read that they should have Hurts back, which will be big if they do. I think Eagles, they need the game more, and I think they'll get it as well. So yeah, it's a shame because I do really like the Giants, and I'd love to see them win this game. But yeah, I just think the Eagles want it more.
I agree. I agree. Next up, we continue this meaningless game trend as the Dallas Cowboys travel to the Washington Commanders. Still a small chance of winning
Yeah,
the division, but I think they'll still play their starters, and I think Dallas will beat the Commanders because I think the Commanders. I don't know why they played with Carson Wentz in that game. I have no idea. And I think they've come back. I think Rivera's job is in danger now after what they seemed like they were making the playoffs a few weeks ago, and the decision to play Wentz
yeah,
over Heineke. I don't know what the reason was for that, and I think that could come back to haunt him. But I think the Dallas
yeah,
Cowboys, for me, I think they have. I think they're. I've questioned Dak a lot of times on this podcast, but I think as an overall roster, it's a pretty good team. So yeah, going to give Dallas the win.
yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. It's weird. It's like it doesn't matter who kind of Washington have at quarterback, they struggle on the offense regardless. So, yeah, I think that'll hold true again here. And yeah, I'm with you. I think the Cowboys win this one.
And next up is the Chargers traveling to the Denver Broncos. Now, the Broncos played an LA team just 2 weeks ago and they lost 51-19, I want to say. And yeah, I do think that the head coaching change, I think we'll see a better Denver Broncos team next season. I think they could
Yeah,
easily win this game because I think the Chargers have already got their spot confirmed. They've already got the playoff spot confirmed. And
yeah,
for that reason, I'm going to give them Broncos the win. I think they'll want to play fair. They got a new head coach or interim head coach, and they'll have more to
yeah,
play for. And the Chargers will probably rest players as well. So I'm going to give this one to Denver.
yeah. Yeah, you're right. The Broncos they're playing for nothing. They already played better last week, since firing Hackett. So that seems to have already done the team some kind of good. And yeah, I just think this is a game that could go either way. Just because I'm anti Russell Wilson, I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Don't blame you. Don't blame you one bit. Now, before
I
we
feel
head,
so bad for that because I actually really like them. I
yeah.
went to the media day for Broncos this year,
Oh, nice.
and
Yeah.
they're just all such lovely players. But I'm still still hurt.
Next up, we have the 49ers hosting the Cardinals. I think the 49ers, for me, have been the best team this last 2 months in the whole NFL. And I'm going to give them the win over what will be a Cardinals team with David Blau as their quarterback. So, yeah, going to give the 49ers the win.
Yeah, I'm with you, 49ers on this one. The defense wasn't the greatest against the Raiders, but I think that'll change when they were against the Cardinals offense because they're pretty bad. So I think this is the game that gets them kind of back on track. Yeah, I'm going to go 49ers too.
Fantastic. And then we're now at crunch time because we are at the NFC wildcard chase. Of course, there's three teams that could make
Yeah.
it in the final spot. You've got Liz's Seattle Seahawks, you've got Green Bay Packers, and the Detroit Lions. All teams are on 8-8 records. I think as it stands, if the Seahawks make it in, they have to win and hope the Lions beat the Packers. For the Lions to make it in, they have to hope that
Yeah.
they win and the Seahawks lose. And then for the Packers to win, they have to get through. They have to just beat the Detroit Lions, and that's it. I'm confused why this is because the current playoff picture has the Seahawks making it, but then if the Packers win, it doesn't matter what happens in that game. So it's I'm not sure how that's worked out, but yeah, Rams traveling to Seahawks, Bobby Wagner
Yeah.
against his former team, and then the Lions Packers in a NFC North matchup. Now, as you're a Seahawks fan, I'll give you the reins first. As a Seattle fan, how are you seeing this game, and how are you feeling of your team's chances?
Do you know what? At the beginning of the season, I very much set myself up for Seahawks having a season where they basically lose a lot and use it as an opportunity to kind of, yeah, build up the draft picks, do well and all this kind of stuff. So I wasn't expecting this to be anything other than a build season. The fact that we've done as well as we have and that we're in, the hunt for the playoffs, I think that's firstly just amazing. So firstly, well done team there. When I think about this game itself, Um, the defense of Seattle played really well against the Jets, and I think that could carry over again. Um, we know that the Rams are in a really weird spot at the moment. They've just not been great at all this season. They really struggled against the Chargers, so I'm going to go Seahawks with this one, and good old Geno Smith's going to have a day.
Nice. I like that. I think I will say I do want the Lions to make it. I think that story's really cool. But I think if this get anyone but the Packers, I don't mind the
Yeah,
Packers making it, but I think
I'm on that train too. Yeah, I'm on that train too. It sounds. I said this on a podcast earlier this week as well. I love Seattle regardless, but if it was between Seattle and Detroit in terms of who gets into the playoffs, I'd actually really like it to be the Lions. They are a team that has never won a Super Bowl, and I'm not saying they're going to win it, although I would love that to happen. They've just really found their form this season, and yeah, I would love to see them go get the win. However, I don't know in this game, so against the Packers, the Packers they've won their like last 4 games straight to get to where they are. The Lions have come off a really good victory against Chicago, but this is a step up for them. Packers playing really well, and I think they'll continue that. But yeah, personally, I'd love to see the Lions do it. I hope the Lions do it. Kind of on a train as you, anyone but the Packers.
yeah, for me, I think I'm giving it to Seahawks. I'm sadly giving it to the Packers. I just think that the Packers want such good
Yeah.
form. I love their returner, Keyshawn Nixon. He looks really good, and I think that Rodgers has almost found his Devontae Adams replacement in Christian Watson. I think they're really hitting form at the right time, and I do think that actually when it comes to the playoffs,
Yeah.
I think the Packers should be if they make it, should be highly feared because their defense is winning them games. The run game is not been as good as we all thought, but I think I think they are a team that could be a real danger come the playoffs. So yeah, I'm going to give it to the Packers on this one. I didn't have to think I caught what you had down for the Packers Lions game. How are you seeing that one?
Yeah, so I was saying, like, I do think the Packers will win it. I just don't want them to. I want the
Yeah,
Lions to win it.
yeah. I think everyone. I don't mind Packers, but I think if you have them in the Lions and the Seahawks, I think they're almost the least likable of the three. Sorry to say it
Yeah,
to all our
yeah, definitely.
Packers fans listening, but I
Yeah.
do think it's just nice to have a change as well because we've seen the Packers make the playoffs, but I've only seen the Lions make the playoffs
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 times in my lifetime, not even that many. So I think
Yeah.
yeah, and also I had the Lions making the playoffs in my prediction episode of the season when the season began, so
Oh,
it'll make me look like a
nice.
genius.
It will.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
I've got the memes and the videos ready for when that happens. Um, that is the end of our Week 18 preview. So before we do go, going to run through it. So we both went for the Chiefs, both went for the Jags. I went for the Buccaneers. Liz went for the Falcons. We both went for the Bills, Vikings, and the Bengals. Liz went for the Colts to beat the Texans. I went for the Texans. I went for the Jets. Liz went for Miami. I went for Carolina. Liz went for the Saints. I went for Pittsburgh to beat Cleveland. Liz went the other way. We both went for the Eagles to beat the Giants. Both went for the Cowboys to beat the Commanders. Both went for the Seahawks to beat the Rams. Both went for the Packers and the Niners to win their game. And then I went for the Broncos to beat the Chargers, and Liz went for the Chargers. So, first of all, yeah, thank you, Liz, for coming on.
No problem.
And we will obviously everyone probably knows you already, but if you don't know Liz, we will put her details on social media, on our Instagram posts, our Twitter, our YouTube, etc. But before we go, anything in the pipeline for you in the new year?
So I'm away for Super Bowl month, so I'm gonna be watching the Super Bowl at like 5, 6 in the morning somewhere. So that'll be interesting. So yeah, wish me luck on that one.
Where are you going to be for that one?
Off to India.
Nice, nice. That'll be good. That'll be amazing. I always love
Yeah,
the idea of watching it in a different country. I saw that Australia, you can watch it at 10 a.m., which I love the idea of
yes,
on a Monday. That'll be amazing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like brunch and Super Bowl. What's not to
Yeah,
love about
exactly.
that?
I was actually thinking of doing it this year, and I realised actually money wise I can't afford it. But I was thinking, do I go? I've got a graduation on the Friday, so I couldn't have gone anyway. But the Friday before my
Yeah.
goal. But yeah, I think it'll be definitely an option in the future. I got a friend that lives in Australia, so I'll mix those two in,
Amazing.
see him, but also watch it at 10 a.m. rather than watching it at 3 a.m. and really wanted to fall
Yeah,
asleep.
exactly. Exactly that.
Yeah. But yeah, this has been our Cross the Pod Week 18 preview. So I've been your host, Andy. This has been Liz Bhandari, and we will see you guys next time.